so let's do examples 4, 5, and 6. I will keep this short, and you'll be done. So example 4, I went ahead and wrote it down. I'm doing it on the back because of the lack of space on the front. I am not going to rewrite that as a single fraction, but you can if you want to. I will show you this. If you already know that you're going to write it, not a single fraction, a single radical, if you already know that you're going to write it as a single radical, really you can just simplify it like it is. 5 over 8 will not reduce. K to the 4th over K will simplify. And so I would have this. Because K to the 4th over K gives me K cubed on top. So now I've got to multiply. This is where my rationalizing my denominator comes in. If I go, because I'm taking the 4th root, if I go to my index of 4, 8 is not there, but 8 will go into 16. So what times 8 will give me 16? And the crowd said 2. So I have multiply. I have the 4th root of 10k cubed over the 4th root of 16. Simplify. You know how to simplify a radical. Simplify the top if you can. If you can take the 4th root of 10k cubed, do your little, whatever you do your little factor tree or your Allen-Pike method, whatever you're doing, simplify the top if you can. The bottom is going to give me the 4th root of 16, which is 2. And so I have the 4th root of 10k cubed over 2. I cannot simplify the 4th root of 10 or the 4th root of k cubed, and that is my final answer. It's not bad. It looks horrible because you're like, oh, I got to do all this multiplying and stuff, but you'll get more comfortable with it. So don't freak out and do not go ahead and make the decision that you can't do it, because yes, you can. All right, let's go back over here to number 5. Again, I'm going to say to you, here's my shortcut tip of the day. If you can look at that without doing literally physically doing steps 1, 2, and 3, because all you're going to do is take it apart, simplify it, put it back together. Just simplify it. 15 over 160. And you can use your calculator. I don't really love that you're dependent on your calculator, but I'm not going to deny you a resource that you have. And 15 over 160 is 3 over 32. So I have the 6th root over the 6th root. 15 over 60 is 3 over 32. X over x is 1. It divides out. So now here comes the rationalizing part. I need the 6th root of 32, so I'm going to go to the 6th column. 32 is not there. Okay? 64 is there, and 32 will go into 64. So what times 32 will give me 64? So I have the 6th root of 6 over the 6th root of 64. I know you want to say the 6th root of 6 is 1, but you would be wrong. You cannot take the 6th root of 6. And the 6th root of 64 is 2. You cannot simplify the 6th root of 6 over 2 because 6 is in the radical, 2 is not. Final answer. Right there. Number 6. I'm going to flip over and do it on the back. Now, this is the side I'm going to glue down because I just opted for that. It doesn't matter to me which side you do it on. Just don't do it on both sides of the back because then you won't have room. So, you won't have a place to put it in your composition book. So for number 6, I have 2 times the cube root of 2x to the 4th over 4 times the cube root of negative 4x cubed. I can look at the outside and simplify 2/4 is 1/2. The 1 is not necessary, but if it makes your heart sing and birds chirp, then you put the 1 if you want to, but you don't have to. 2 over 4 is 1/2. Right? So I've got the cube root of 1/2. I'm going to put that 1 there just so you don't get lost in what I'm doing. And that's actually a -2. And x to the 4th over x cubed is just an x in the top. Go back and rewatch that explanation if you didn't get what I just did. Alright, so now I've got to rationalize. But first, little bells and whistles are going off in my head because I'm taking the cube root of a negative number. Odd root, odd index, negative number. What do we do with the negative? Let's go ahead and bring the negative out, and then you don't lose it in there anywhere. It's done. So now, little pink paper. There's another way to do this, but it's long and complicated. It's not that I think you can't handle it. I'm just trying to make life easy for you. So we're going to use the little chart. The cube root of 2, not there. But 2 will go into 8. So I've got to multiply this by the cube root of something so that I get on the bottom, remember there's going to be a -2 out front, so that I get the cube root of 8. So what times 2 gives me 8? So in my numerator, I have the cube root of x times the cube root of 4. I cannot take the cube root of 4x, and I cannot simplify the cube root of 4x. So I still have the cube root of 4x in my numerator, and the cube root of 8. The cube root of 8 is 2, so I have -2 that's already there, times 2 for this, and so my answer, the cube root of 4x over -4, final answer. Okay, again, I apologize for the length, but I shouldn't have put 6 examples, but I did. You probably need them. You won't die from it. I promise. You might want me to not ever do that again, but it'll be okay. And that's all I got.